In this video, Dr. Damina was saying that God does not give children. And I think it meant that because God has already put a system in place, God does not exactly, just drop children from heaven to anyone. And then he went on to say some other things. But I think that is quite an atheistic thing to say.
When I did the teaching with you that babies don't come from heaven, all religious people wanted to fight because they always believe that it is God that gives children. No, you are responsible for the children you have. The only human being that God produced by himself is Adam.
You see, atheists have a way of embellishing the process of nature rather than the creator. It is almost like deflecting from the creator and focusing on the process of things. You will often hear an atheist say things like, God did not create me, my parents brought me here. And that is the kind of thing that Dr. Damina seems to be alluding to here, and I think it's very problematic. You see, Jesus said that God clothed the lilies. Now, if you're a scientist or you know a little bit of science, you know that plants grow through photosynthesis and all of this, they need sunlight, they need all of this. But you see, Jesus does not credit the growth of the lily to photosynthesis. He said that God feeds the sparrow, but God doesn't bring food to any animal. All right, where the carcass is, the eagles gather. Animals have to sense food and go in that direction. Yet the Lord Jesus said that God feeds them. You see, you cannot invalidate that God is the one who gives children just because some children end up to be sickle cell or with cerebral palsy, or some of them turn out lame or abnormal or things like that. Look, God has put a system in place for us to have children. It is him who put the system in place. It is him who created the system. It is him who initiated the system. Now, the fact that human beings and as men we have a corrupted body does not invalidate the system and the creator of the system. I want to ask you a question. Think about it this way. Who will Dr. Damina say gave him his own children? Will Dr. Damina credit his own children to himself and his wife? Will he say we gave ourselves children? Or when you go for a naming ceremony as a pastor, or you're called to name a baby, will you carry the baby in your arms and say, look at the baby that the father and the mother gave? Some people make the argument of somebody was raped and the person got pregnant. Now, if you are carrying a child in your arms who was brought forth by rape or through rape, okay, or through rape really, will you say that look at the child that rape created? You're not going to say that. So God is the creator. Now, the fact that there is a mortality at work in men, and so because of that mortality there are all kinds of sicknesses, does not invalidate the fact that the creator is the giver. Okay, so the sin of Adam had caused for the law of mortality to be in place, and that corrupts things, that creates sickle cell, all kinds of things. So what you should rather say is that God gives children, but he doesn't give sickness. You see that? So you can say that God gives children, but doesn't give sickness. The same way today we fall sick, but God doesn't make us sick. We are sick because of many factors. Do you get it? So you cannot isolate God, the creator, the maker, from the system, and you cannot attribute it to science either. You must be careful of elevating science above the creator. It's a pitfall for faith. You see that? So you cannot say, look at the child that science gave us. No, God is the giver of children. Either you got it from science or you got it by faith in him. And let's not even talk about the barren in the Bible, Sarah, Rebecca, people like Elizabeth, people like Anna, whom God gave children to by their work of faith in supernatural. But beyond that, even if you are laying claim on the natural, all things were made by him and for him. Till today, the earth is the Lord's. Do you know that? And there are barren places on the earth. There are different kind of problems on the earth. But the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So you cannot say that the earth does not belong to God just because people are criminals on the earth. Or maybe because the earth, there's cyclone or there's hurricane or there's whatever. You must ensure that in your theology, you keep God at the center. God is the creator, is the giver of life. Nobody came here because their parents orchestrated them. Everybody came here because God put a system in place for them to come. So you credit it to God. God gives children. I really want to warn you against atheistic paradigms. No matter how philosophical you might think they sound. God bless you.
Why did the boy rape the girl and she's pregnant? Because when God created the universe, he put into the universe abilities and systems, and allows man by his choice to trigger any system or ability. It is not God that gives children. It is man and woman that decides children. That's why in science you can block the process of productivity and God will not push it, because man